So last week we did a lot with breathing. Did a lot of stretching in the body to kind of open things up in the we talked a little bit about the muscles of respiration, right? Your diaphragm down here around your ribs, and we did an awful lot with the intercostal muscles. Those are the muscles that go between each rib, right? And they help with the breathing as well. A lot of us get tight in the intercostal muscles, so we can breathe and kind of feel movement in one part of the chest or the rib cage, but we can't feel movement in other parts, so we're tighter in those parts. So, you know, excuse me, doing stretches, arms up overhead, in front, behind you, those are all really good things to kind of get those intercostal muscles working. Excuse me for one second. A little extra pollen this morning. All right, so today I thought since we did such a focused class last week that today we'll just sort of hit all the major joints and muscles of the body. So we'll kind of go through everything. Does that sound like a good plan? All right. Anybody have any particular complaints this morning? Physically. Yes, I know. Everybody's like, yeah. Like fingers or wrists, I guess I should be really specific. Like fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders. How many shoulders are out there? A lot of shoulders out there. All of the above. How about hips? How many hips out there? Hips, yes, okay. Knees. Oh, okay, good amount of knees. Ankles. Yeah, not so many, but still some ankles. How about toes? Yeah, toes, right? So we don't want to forget our toes. All right, well, we won't forget any of those body parts, and I might throw in a couple extras if I can think of them. So, oh, neck. Thank you, right? So, neck. How many necks out there? Oh, thank you. That was a really popular one. All right, well, make sure we do the neck as well. All right. So, first things first, come right up to the front edge of your chair and bring your feet right underneath your knees. And then just notice, can you feel your sitting bones on the chair? Are they even? Are you leaning to one side or the other? Are you on the back of your sitting bones? Press down and then bring your shoulders so that they're kind of even and above your hips. And then notice your neck, right? So notice your neck. Real tight, real relaxed, tighter on one side. Maybe just kind of move your head around a little bit. Just sort of checking out. So if you turn your head to one direction, do you feel something there? Is it tight? Is it restricted? Does it move freely? What if you turn your head in the opposite direction? Maybe tilting a little bit. And then bring your head back to sort of a neutral position. So just your chin is tucked ever so slightly. So a lot of us sit like this because the shoulders round forward and we sit with the chin up, so really long through the front of the neck. So see if you can bring your shoulders back a little bit and let your head just rest above your shoulders. And then close your eyes if that feels okay. And with your eyes closed, begin to notice your breath. Notice the way air is moving in and out of your body. So ideally, we want to breathe in and out through the nose. The nose filters and warms or cools the air, brings it to the right temperature. And if it feels a little tough to get some breath, you can breathe in through your nose and out through pursed lips, like you're blowing out a candle. So we want to avoid mouth breathing if you can. Use it just as an accessory if you really feel like you can't quite get that breath in through the nose. But we get into a habit of breathing through the mouth, and then that habit kind of prevents us from breathing through the nose. So as you're breathing in and out, notice where you feel movement in your body. Can you feel your belly and your rib cage expand? Can you feel the sides of your body expand? And what about the back? So with each breath in, your body expands. With each breath out, there's a gentle contraction as your body returns to its sort of normal place. Notice if your breath is fast or slow. if it's shallow or deep. And then take in a really full breath. And when you get to the top of that inhale, pause for a moment and then take in a little bit more breath. And then exhale through your mouth with a sigh. Going to do that 3 more times. So again, you're going to breathe in, breathe all the way in. Breathe in a little bit more. And then 2 more times. Breathing all the way in a little bit more. And last time, breathe way in. A little bit more. And then go back to your natural breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Let your eyes gently open. And let's start with a little bit of work for the fingers. So take your hands off your lap. We're going to squeeze and extend fingers. And notice what your fingers feel like. Kind of turn your hands around and have a look at them as you're moving. Do your fingers close easily? Do they open easily? Or is there some hesitation in there? And then bring your fingers in extension, like really spread them out nice and wide. Keep them long. So you want to have long fingers, and you're going to bring your thumb and your first finger kind of close together, and then your second, your third, and fourth. And go back to your first, second, third, or fourth. So we're not touching fingertips. So you're not rounding your fingers. You're keeping them straight, right? So it's a little bit different. And notice your breath. Did it get a little shallow as you're doing this, right? Yeah. Okay. And then the next time that you finish with your last finger, your baby finger, now we're going to curl the fingers. So bring fingertip and thumb tip together. So first, second, third, and fourth. And let's go back to first, second, third, and fourth. We'll just do this a couple more times, just running down the different fingers, first, second, third, and fourth. Good. And then shake that out a little bit. Take your right hand, extend it out in front of you, and then we're going to circle around at the wrist. Circle the other way. Good. And then grab hold of your fingers and pull back on your fingers as you extend through your palm. Now drop your shoulder down. If you've got your arm way up here, drop the shoulder down so that you look down at your hand, not up at your hand. Straighten your elbow. Right, so keep the elbow straight to get the most stretch up through the arm. And then give the elbow a very tiny bend. And notice how that changes the stretch. And then straighten the elbow. And then a tiny bend. And just keep going back and forth, just exploring this. It's just a tiny bend in the elbow. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. Okay. And then straighten the elbow. Really pull back on those fingers. Pull, pull, pull. And then release that, bring the fingers down and press on the back of the hand. So we're stretching now the top of the forearm a little bit. We were stretching the bottom of the forearm before. And again, a very slight bend, and then straighten. Watch that you're not moving with your shoulder, right? So sometimes we do this, right? So see if you can relax that shoulder, give a very slight bend, and then extend. And you want to keep the pressure on this hand, so you're pulling the fingers down toward the floor. Good. Just a couple more times here. Looks good, everybody. Great. And finish with the arm extended, and then we'll circle around at the wrist a little bit. All right, take your left hand, bring it out, circle at the wrist. Reverse direction, breathe in, breathe out. That's the most important part. And then extend through the hand. Bring your fingers back, and we're going to pull back on the fingers. Now, some folks are going to feel this in the palm of the hand. Some will feel it in the wrist. Some will feel it here in the bottom of the forearm, the underside of the forearm. So with the elbow straight, you're going to feel that come up a little bit higher to the elbow, maybe even into the upper arm a little bit, and then a little bend in the elbow, tiny bend. And then straighten and bend, and breathe in and breathe out. Good. Keep going. Now make sure you grab all 4 fingers, so not just 1 or 2 of them. Get that baby finger. Don't let it hang out there. It's a bit of a slacker. Doesn't like to do the work. And then extend that arm, hold the arm extended, breathing in, breathing out. And then release that. Bring your fingers down toward the floor. Take your other hand, press on the back of the hand. So not on your fingers now. You want to press on the back of your hand. Once again, try not to keep your shoulder way up here. Drop the shoulder down, relax your neck and jaw. And then you can give a little bit of a bend and then straighten. So a little bit of a bend and then straighten. So when you bend your elbow, the stretch is more in the forearm, the wrist, and the hand. When you straighten your elbow, that stretch comes up a little bit higher. Same as when we are doing the bottom side of the forearm. Nice, easy breaths. Good. And then we'll take that wrist and circle around. All right, shake out those wrists a little bit. All right, bring your arms right down alongside your body. Keep your elbows tucked in nice and close, and we're just going to bend and tap the shoulders, right? So nice, slow, controlled movement. Notice what it feels like having your elbows in to your body, right? So if you're going to lift something up, if you're going to lift something that's heavy, and by heavy can be anything from 3 pounds on up, right? So that's relatively heavy. It's good to have your elbow into your body. You have a little more strength and stability for your shoulder and your elbow when you do that. Okay, so now let's bring the arms up in front. So keep the elbows a little bit lower than the shoulders. And again, we're going to tap and extend and breathe in, breathe out. And just notice now, what does that feel like? Comparing that to when you had your elbows tucked into your body. Good. Okay, one more time. Next time your hands are on your shoulders, we're going to hold here. And now bring your elbows out to the sides. And as you bring your elbows out to the sides, look over there. See if you can get your arms, your upper arms, parallel to the floor. So if your elbows are down here, that's not parallel. You want to have your elbows up here if you can. If that makes your shoulders do this, right? So if you have some issues with your shoulders and they're kind of up here, bring your shoulders down. If that means your elbows are down a little bit, that's okay. We want to get this upper arm as parallel to the floor as possible. And that's going to be different for everybody. So now we're going to extend and bend, keeping the upper arms, yep, I didn't check and make sure everybody had space to do that, right? We got tight quarters this morning. All right, so breathe in, breathe out. Good. So the next time you're bent with your hands on your shoulders, we're going to hold here and make light fists, right? Now imagine you've got, let's start with 3 pounds in each hand, right? So 3 pounds, we're going to go out, really squeeze these muscles here, make a really strong biceps muscles, and then really squeeze, come in slow, slow, slow. So really strong muscles, 3 pounds in each hand, right? So if you close your eyes, you might be able to visualize those 3 pounds in the right hand and the left hand, right? Some of you, this looks super easy, so I want you to have 5 pounds now. If 3 is sufficient, stay with 3. But I'm thinking you could go to 5. When you get your fists onto your shoulders, I want you to really squeeze those Popeye muscles, right? So those are your Popeye muscles. Really squeeze them, right? Just a couple more times. Good. And the next time your hands are on your shoulders, we're going to hold here for a moment. Okay, and now we're going to go up overhead. We're going to get the shoulders involved a little bit. So go up overhead and push up toward the ceiling, and then come all the way down, fists on your shoulders. Push up toward the ceiling. As you push up, I'm going to ask you to stretch through the rib cage on the right side, the left side, the front and the back, and breathe in. As you come down, you're going to breathe out. So we're going to go very slowly. Good. One more time. Excellent. And now we're going to lift those elbows up a little bit more. Drop your arms down. So you're kind of like a scarecrow, right? So your arms, your elbows are up. And now we're going to go out and in and out and in. Now this might be a little uncomfortable, especially if you're having a shoulder issue. So again, you can drop your arms down. I'm just trying to get the arms in a different rotation, right? I'm trying to get the arms in a different rotation, working muscles and joints a little bit differently. If it's a little funky on one side, you can just do the other side, right? So do what you can, right? This is your body. You know what's going on in there. So next time your arms come in, we're going to hold here. Take your elbows behind you, so way behind like that. And now you're going to have to negotiate with your own chair. We're going to go back and come forward. Now, as you're doing this, I notice if you're doing this, right? See if you can sit upright, bring your chin in a little bit, right? So we're not in that flying forward posture. What is it on the prow of a boat? What's the what? No, the thing that's there, it's like a, yes, a figurehead, right? So the figurehead on the prow of the boat goes like that. Yeah, we don't want any of those, right? I think that's what it's called. I don't know these words. Okay. Next time your hands are up by your shoulders, we're going to hold here. Bring your hands here and relax your arms down. Okay, give your shoulders, right out here, a little massage. Whatever you can get hold of there, right? Now, if that doesn't work, if you don't have the ability to get your hands there, you can always go across your body like this, right? Yeah. Or you can do one at a time, and then the other. So yeah, give those muscles a little bit of a massage. Just notice what that feels like. And then see if you can bring your hands up to the tops of your shoulders, right? Everybody feel those muscles up there? Can you take your fingers and just kind of poke right up here on top of your shoulders? Who has golf balls out there? I do. I have softballs. Yeah. Little tender up there. For many of us, it's a little tender up there. And then go up a little bit to your neck. So stay behind your ears though, right? So don't come to the front of your neck. Stay behind your ears. And just use your finger pads, not your fingertips. Use the finger pads and do a little massage back there. Oh, that's yummy, right? Oh, it would be even better if somebody was doing it for you, right? I hear you. So find those spots, right? You can go right up to the base of your skull. Oh, go right down to the shoulder tops. Notice if one side feels different than the other. All right, and then let your hands and arms have a little bit of a rest. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath in and out. And notice your fingers and your hands, your wrists, your forearms, your elbows, your upper arms, your shoulders, and even up into the tops of your shoulders and near your neck. Take a deep breath in, let it out with a sigh. And let your eyes open, and let's focus a little on that neck, right? So we're kind of moving things up and through. So take your chin and bring it down to see if you can find the little notch between your collarbones. So if you just take your fingers there, find the little notch between your collarbones. It's like you want to take your chin and just tuck it into that notch, right? So what this is doing is it's bringing your chin back and down. So it's not like just bringing your chin down, and it's not just bringing it back. It's back and down. And then release that back to neutral. And we'll do that a few times. So we're just kind of stretching that here and then coming back. So many of us, most of us, I would venture to say, in our modern lives, we spend way too much time with our necks in extension. So the back of the neck gets locked into this shortened place. So doing this little exercise is very helpful for stretching the muscles in the back of the neck. This is one I give my computer people, so I deal with a few technical people in high technology, rather. And this is one of the exercises I have them do all day, every day, as often as they can. Next time you have your chin tucked in, hold it there. Breathe in, breathe out. I forgot to mention that, but it's real important. Breath is smooth and round. And then relax your neck. And as you relax your neck, notice your shoulders relax a little bit, right? So now let's take the head and we're going to just turn the head to the right and then turn the head to the left. So nice and slow, especially if you suffer from a little bit of dizziness. You want to go nice and slow. Breathe in and out, nice and slow as well. And it doesn't matter when you inhale and exhale here, just whatever feels good. So just notice when you turn right, how far you can go, and when you turn left, how far you can go. Try not to turn your shoulders or your torso, right? So many of us compensate for tight necks by turning the rest of the body. So we're just trying to turn from the neck. The shoulders are stable, the chest is stable, the lower body is stable. Next time you're turned to the right, just hold here to the right and notice and breathe. And then turn to the left. Same thing, you're just going to hold here, notice, and breathe. And then come back to center. Okay, we're going to take the right ear to the right shoulder. Can you get your ear close to your shoulder? But your shoulder doesn't want to rise to meet your ear, right? So don't raise your shoulder up to your ear. Bring your ear to your shoulder. And notice what you feel. So some of us are going to feel a stretch on the left side. Some of us might actually be feeling a little bit of tightness here on the right side, in the back of the neck, even in the front of the neck. You might feel it out into the top of the shoulder or even around the slope of the shoulder into the upper arm, depending on what you've got going on there. So breathe in, breathe out. And then raise your head back up to center, and we're going to go to the other side. So again, this is just the ear going to the shoulder, right? So we're not leaning the body, we're not bringing the shoulder up to the ear, we're just bringing that ear to the shoulder. So the ear wants to get close to the shoulder, and the shoulder is really not that interested. Breathing in, breathing out. And then coming back to center, we're going to go to the other side again. So right side, ear to shoulder. And see if you can really pull that ear over a little bit more. And then we'll come back up. Left side, ear to shoulder. Good. Come back up. Excellent. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the head to the right and look down at the floor. So as if you could look under your chair, but don't move over with your body. So look up here for just 1 second. So what I don't want you to do is this, right? So we're just doing this with the head. So I'm looking over as far as I can. If my arm wasn't in the way, maybe I could see a little bit farther under my chair. And then from here, we're going to go up and to the left. So you're looking up to the rafters, right? Breathe in, breathe out. Let's bring the head down. So you're looking on that right side down toward the floor underneath your chair, and then up toward the ceiling. So again, a little bit of a stretch for the neck in different directions. So down to the right and up to the left. Good. One more time. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't forget that part. And then come back to a neutral position. So take a moment, just notice there's a little difference here in your neck and shoulders. And then same thing now on the other side. So we're just going to look down to the left and then tilt your head up to the right. So it's at a little bit of a diagonal, right? So we're going down to the left. Don't twist your body, don't twist your shoulders. So the shoulders stay true. It's just the neck that's moving, right? The neck gets a lot of assistance from other muscles in the upper back and the arms, by the way. Because the neck, when it's not feeling so hot, if it's tight, if it's cranky, it sets up quite a fuss. And the rest of the body comes to its aid. So one more time, down and up. Good. And then head comes back to center. Let's roll those shoulders up and around a few times. Good. Any noisy shoulders out there? Yeah, right? Shoulders are noisy. And then roll the other way. All right. Good. Let's get just a little bit more on the upper body here, a little more complex movement. So we're going to take the right arm and bring it across to the left and pull that arm over. And you all, many of you know this, we've done this several times. So this is a little more complex. It gets the arm, shoulder, neck, head, back, and a little bit of the chest. Turn and look out over your right shoulder, and we're going to lift and lower the chin like you're saying yes. So you're looking over your right shoulder, your right hand is out to the left. You're just doing a very slow, gentle yes, so don't go too fast. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. We're going to bring the head back to center. Release that arm. Sweep it around behind your back now. So as it comes behind your back, take your left hand and see if you can grab hold of your fingers or your hand or your wrist. And try not to contort your body to do this, right? So again, we want to keep the body upright if we can, just kind of pulling this over to the side, and then drop your left ear to your left shoulder. Right? So we had the left ear to left shoulder stretch. And with your left ear on your left shoulder, we're going to say no. So turn the head down and then up, right? So it's a little bit of a no. It's a weird no. Your head's in a weird position saying no. And again, just notice what you feel. Go gentle. So you never want to have pain. I talk about this quite a bit. Pain is that indication that you need to stop what you're doing. Discomfort is maybe just, I don't do this very often or at all. And so it's a little uncomfortable. Muscles aren't used to it. Joints and tissues are just not used to it. Good. And then come back to sort of your neutral position. Release your arm. Roll the shoulders a couple times. Good. And then take your left arm, sweep it over to the right. So same thing here. We're going to pull that arm over to the right as best you can. If you're working with a shoulder that's a little cranky and doesn't like this, you know, you can always bring the arm down and go maybe not so far. Turn and look out over your left shoulder. Lift and lower your chin really gently. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice if you've got tension somewhere else in your body as you're doing this. Notice if it feels different to do this yes movement on the left side than it did on the right side. Good, and then come back to center with your head. Release your arm, sweep it around behind your back. When you get the arm back there, grab your fingers or your hand or your wrist or whatever you can get. Try not to contort your body to get there. See if you can sit up nice and straight. Good, breathe in, breathe out. Pull the arm over a little bit and then drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Remember, the ear likes the shoulder does not really care for the ear. And we're just going to do this no movement. So again, a little gentle movement. It's always good to kind of go slow because then you notice your limits. We get in trouble when we move through things quickly and we don't give our bodies and our brains a chance to kind of adjust to whatever that new thing is that we might be doing. So breathe in, breathe out. So all you people who jump out of bed in the morning, you know who you are. You run through life really fast. Just slow down a little bit. And then bring your head back to center. Release that arm. Bring both hands to your lap. Close your eyes. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice your shoulders and your neck now. Your chest and your upper back. And anything else you're feeling, maybe in your arms, your hands, your fingers. Deep breath in, let it out with a sigh. And let your eyes gently open. Okay, we're going to travel all the way down to the bottom of the body now. So it's foot time. So if you've got socks on, you want to take them off, you can do that. If you've got shoes on, you might take those off. So first things first, look down at those feet. Just give them a good once over. And appreciate them. So probably some of you are looking at your feet going, ugh, right? Yeah, I heard that like kind of mentally in here. So without your feet, you wouldn't be here in the room, right? Because you couldn't get here. So they get you to a lot of places. Really important to appreciate our feet a little bit. So just kind of look down and regardless of what your initial thought is, see if you can send your feet a little bit of appreciation. It might sound silly, but it's helpful, trust me. Okay, so now bring your feet underneath your knees. And we're going to just kind of focus a little bit on the toes. We're going to lift and lower the toes. Right? Everybody lift and lower your toes. Is it easy? Is it hard? Do they move all together? Do they feel independent? Can you feel space between your toes when you lift and lower them? Or do you have a toe or two that kind of crosses over another one? So there's all kinds of different orientations of our toes, right? Okay. So now, instead of lifting all the toes, we're just going to keep all the little toes on the floor, and we're just going to lift the big toes. Just the big toes, and then lower down. So just lift and lower. If you need to look down, if it's helpful, bring your feet in a position where you might be able to look down at your toes. Give them a little visual assist, right? Hands. You can have your hands kind of instructing. Use your thumbs and lift your thumbs up. It'd be like a marionette, right? So you lift your thumbs and your toes come up. That would be really fun. Oh, that's what we should do, you guys. I should bring string. So it'll take us all an hour to put string between our fingers and our toes, but then we can spend like a bunch of time just playing with that, right? Oh, you guys are creative. I like that. All right. All right. So now all the big toes are all exercised, right? Sort of. All right, we're going to keep the big toes on the floor and then see if you can lift all the little toes and then lower. So lift and lower all the little toes. Got that? So do the little toes move like a unit? Yeah, yeah, it's like a regiment, right? It's like everybody's in lockstep. How is it to keep the big toes on the floor? Is it a bit of a struggle for some folks? Yeah, the big toes want to come up too, right? Yeah. And it's because most of us wear shoes a good part of our day, and the shoes encourage our toes to work as a unit as opposed to independently. Okay, so let's just kind of leave that for a moment, and then I'm going to have you slide your feet back a little bit so that, I'm sorry, one foot, right foot if you'd like. I'm going to take the foot back, and we're just going to stretch the bottom of the foot where the toes are. So we're coming into, it looks like this, right, on the floor, so we're coming into extension. Think stiletto heel, right? Yep, up on the toes, right? John, I know you have several pairs at home. Just saying, just saying. So we're pressing down, we're just getting a really good stretch for the toes. See if you can stretch them a little bit more. Again, it might be a bit uncomfortable. And then see if you can release that pressure, come up over the tops of your toes, and then press the top of your toes into the floor. So it looks like that. So you're pointing your toes. So think ballerina, right? Think ballerina slippers, right? I don't know if you have those too, but could be. So we're going to go back and forth between the high heel toe, right? Or Barbie foot, right? Everybody knows what a Barbie foot is. There we go. That's what I should have said. And then up and over the toes, onto the top. Can you feel that? Now, if this is too much, if you're on the floor, so I got my socks right here, I'm just going to put my toes on my socks. And some of you have your towels, which is awesome. So going up and over if the floor is a little tough on your foot. Or you could even do it on your shoe if you have a shoe handy. Can you feel that in your toes? They're probably getting a little crabby with you, right? Yeah. Ooh. Just notice what that feels like. Okay. And then we'll bring that foot to the floor. Take a moment, close your eyes for just a moment, and notice the difference between your right foot, your toes, and the toes of your left foot. Just notice what that feels like. And then you can let your eyes open. We're going to take the left foot, slide it back, and we're just going to press down into that foot. So it's a Barbie foot on this side, right? Same thing, Barbie foot. So we're really trying to stretch the little muscles in the toes and the forefoot here. Getting some, and it's not just muscles, by the way, you guys. It's also the connective tissue in there, right? So your muscles are surrounded by this beautiful connective tissue. That helps to communicate different things to the rest of your body. It helps you with stability. It helps you with proprioception, where you are in space. Helps you with all kinds of different things. So breathing in, breathing out. Notice if it feels a little harder on this side or a little easier on this side. Usually one foot has a little more flexibility in the toes, and it's usually the foot that's a little bit smaller, because most of us have one foot that's a little smaller than the other, and we buy shoes that generally fit the smaller foot, right? So the larger foot gets a little bit crowded in there. That's not always the case, but it's often the case. Okay, so we're going to come up over the top of the toes and then right onto there. We're stretching, so you might feel it up into the shin, right? If you want to bring your sock over there, or if you got your towel or your shoe or whatever. So really press down into the top of the foot, right? If you press, I didn't say this on the other side, but if you press more into the big toe side, you'll feel it more in the front here. If you press more into the little toe side, it kind of goes out to the side of the leg a little bit. Yeah. So find which one is the least comfortable. Get to the least comfortable one and stay there. Because that's where you need it, right? If it's comfortable, it's like, oh, that's easy. I can do this. It's good to challenge yourself. Okay, and then we'll go up and over. So we'll go back and forth a couple of times, right? So really stretching the toes. Good. Breathe in, breathe out, because this is one of those times when holding the breath, it really tends to happen. And the more sensation we start to generate here, the more we can hold the breath a little bit. Okay, good. All right, and then bring the foot back down to the floor. If you want, close your eyes. If not, just drop your gaze down. Take a moment and just notice your feet and your toes, your ankles, a little bit of your lower legs, maybe your shins or calves. All right. Big breath in, let it out with a sigh. Ah. All right, open your eyes. Let's take the right foot and we're going to circle the ankle. And reverse direction. Good. Left foot, same thing, circle. Ooh, left side's a little more snappy. And then other way. Okay, so we got a little bit of ankle movement going on. So now let's work on knees a little bit. So we're coming up the legs, up the lower legs a little bit. So sitting up nice and tall, you might want to bring your hands just to the chair alongside your hips, right? This just, for me, this just helps me with staying in integrity with my body, right? So I know where I am in space, because I might tend to do this. If my leg gets heavy and I get tired, I might tend to do this. So if I have my hands here, my shoulders stay above my hips, and I know that I'm staying in integrity with my spine. So I'm just going to bend and extend the right leg. So bend, and when you bend, I want you to squeeze the muscles here in the back of the leg. Like you could get your heel on the underside of the chair. And then when you extend, really squeeze the muscles here in the front of the leg, right? So back and forth, really slow, and breathe as you do this. Now pull your belly in a little bit if you want to give yourself a little more support, your core. Wow, that got loud all of a sudden. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, next time you extend your leg, you're going to stay here, right? And with your leg extended, you're going to lift it up a little bit higher. Bring your toes toward your shin. So pull the toes this way, right? Toward your face a little bit more. Everybody doing okay? So for those of you leaning way back to get your leg up, sit up nice and tall. I see you. So one more breath in and out. Good. And then can you count to 3 as you lower your leg? Not 1, 2, 3. 2 and 3. Whoo. Give that leg a little bend, right? Give that a little massage. So you're working the muscles up around the top of the leg, and the top of the leg, those muscles, especially here in the front, these control the knee. So let's go to the other side. So same thing, I'm going to just make sure I'm in integrity here with my spine, so my hands alongside my body, and then bend like I'm going to kick the bottom of the chair. And then extend like I'm going to kick the person in front of me. So bend in a nice, loving way, not in a mean, vicious way, right? So slow and steady. And just notice, when you really pull the heel back, you can feel that in the back of your leg, right? And when you really extend that leg, you can feel it here in the front of the leg, rather. Good. So keep going. If anybody's had a knee surgery or knee injury that they've recovered from and had some PT, this is one of the movements they have you do. It's really important. So next time you extend the leg, we're going to hold here and breathe. And I know this is challenging, so pull your belly in a little bit. Good. Pull the toes toward the shin. Breathe in, breathe out. So really pull the toes in toward your shin. Lift a little higher if you can. Don't lean back in your chair, though. Resist that. Good. Oh, I can tell by your faces you're really loving this one. And then we'll slowly count to 3. Slow count to 3 as you lower down. Ooh, good. Okay, bend that knee. Give that leg a little bit of a massage here. Okay. How we doing? Everybody awake now, right? Good. All right. So let's take we're going to do a little bit of work now for the hips. So we're coming up from the knees to the hips. So we're just going to take the knees from side to side. Now, as you do this, make sure you don't slide off your chair. So this would be a good time to hold on to your chair, right? So we're just going from side to side. Good. Okay, next time your knees are over to the right, hold your knees here. Good. And with your knees over to the right, we're going to take just the left knee and open it up and then bring it back. Right? So the right knee stays over to the right as far as it can go, and we're just using that left knee going back and forth. Breathing in, breathing out. Getting ready for dancing later. Zumba's after this, right? Is Zumba after this? You'll be all lubricated for Zumba. And then we're going to take the knees and we're going to bring them over to the left, both of them, right? So really pull them over as far as they'll go. Try not to be twisting your whole body in the chair. So we're really trying to get this movement here from the hip. And then take your right leg, and we're just kind of going in and out, right? Good. And you can be up on your little Barbie foot there if you want. Good. Okay, and then bring the feet back to the floor. Scoot your backside over to the right side of your chair so the right side of your hip and your buttocks are just kind of right on the edge there. Now, sitting up nice and tall with your body, we're going to lift the right foot off the floor, sweep the leg out to the side and bring it down. And then slide the foot back. Got it? So we lift, go out, down, and slide. Breathe. Good. Excellent. Couple more. Okay, next time your foot is back next to the other foot, we're going to slide the foot out. Lift up and over. So slide out. So it's just the opposite. We're sliding when we were lifting and we're lifting when we were sliding. Everybody got that? Good. Is it feeling okay? Okay, foot comes down next to the other one. Which way felt better for you? The first one? The second one? I love it. There's always consensus. Always. Okay, so that just kind of got us prepared. Now we're going to take this a little bit higher or a little bit more intensity. You can go back to what we just did, or you're going to take your leg up, keep it off, and circle around. So lift up as you go out and down as you come back. So again, if you want a modified way, you'll lift up, go out, down, and slide back. That's the modification, right? This is the modification. But this is what you're doing, not modifying. Everybody, are you holding your breath? Awesome. Take a breath now. Bring your foot back to the floor. Okay. Whew, feel that hip? It's nice and warm, right? Yes. So we're going to do the opposite now, right? So remember, the second way we did it was to slide the foot out, come up and back over. So you can do that, or you're going to rotate your leg out, come up and back in. So you're doing your circle in the opposite direction. Does that make sense? Okay. You do, right? Yes. And then let's bring that foot back down. Good. Scoot to the center of your chair. Take your hand and give that hip a little bit of a massage. You can go right up into the groin area. You can go down out to the side. You can go behind, right? It's your own glute. You can rub your own glute. No problem there. Okay. And then we're going to go scoot right over to the left side. So again, this left side of the leg, the hip, kind of right on the edge of the chair. And we're going to start with the modification because this is a good way to warm things up a little bit. So you're going to lift your left foot up, bring it all the way out to the side, place it down, and then slide it back. Good. Up, out, down, and slide. Good. So nice and slow. Make sure your breathing is smooth and steady. It is tempting to hold your breath when you do this because there's a lot of exertion, right? Especially if your legs aren't too strong, if you've got a little issue with your hip, and you don't have to lift your leg up too high, by the way. Next time your foot is in next to its partner there, we're going to pause for a moment, and then we're going to do the opposite, right? So we're going to slide out. Yes. Wow. I got really confused. So come up and over. Whew. That's so good. Welcome to that club. Yes, right? I know. It's good. I love being in a crowd like this. This is great. Yeah. It's okay to get mixed up. That's good. That just means you got to think a little bit harder, right? Good. We all help each other. You got, yeah. I'd still be sitting here if you didn't help me on that one. Okay, we got that, right? Okay, next time your foot is into the other one, pause for a moment. So now we're going to take it up just one more little notch if that works for you. So again, if you're working with a hip that just is not having any of this today, do the modification, and that modification would be lifting up, out, and then sliding back. If you want to go a little bit up with that, you're going to take the leg and you're going to circle it up and out and down and in, right? So the circle is going in that direction. Breathe in, breathe out. And again, you don't have to be lifting very high with this, right? You could even have your foot on the floor completely and do this circle. How's everybody doing? You with me? Yes. Okay, foot comes down next to the other one. We're going to pause for a moment. So we're going to be moving into that opposite direction. So again, the modification, the first one that we did was to slide out and then come up and in. And if you want to take it a little step further, you're going to just circle that leg out, up, and in. Out, up, and in. Good. Yeah, so we're testing out all the muscles here in the hip and the leg. Breathe in, breathe out. Again, you can do this with your foot on the floor. You don't actually even have to lift your leg up. Everybody doing all right? Good. Okay, and then we're going to bring that foot back down to the floor. Scoot back to the center of your chair. Give that hip a little massage. Again, you can go right up into the crease of the leg. You can get out to the side of the hip, even into the buttocks a little bit. And then put your hands on your lap. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a couple of nice deep breaths in and out. And let's just kind of trace things from the toes to the feet to the ankles. From the ankles up to the lower legs, your shins and your calves, to your knees, your thighs in the front, those are your quadriceps, and your thighs in the back are your hamstrings. So we got the front and the back of the thighs. We even did the outsides of the thighs, and up into the hips a little bit. Okay, take a deep breath in, let it out with a sigh. Eyes can open. Take your feet a little bit wider than your hips and come right onto the front of your sitting bones. So reach underneath yourself and move the fleshy part of your seat out of the way so you can feel the sitting bones a little bit more. Oftentimes we sit on the glutes, right? So when we sit down, like when I just kind of sit down, if I'm sitting down and my back is like this, my lower back is like this, I'm actually sitting on my glutes a little bit. I'm kind of pinning my glutes a little bit. That pulls on my low back. So it's better to sit with the sitting bones right on the chair, and then the glutes are just kind of pushed out behind a little bit, right? So from here, we're going to do a little bit of hip tilting, and we've done this a few times. So I know some of you at least are familiar with it. So if you take your hands, we're going to find the hip bones. So take your hands and just kind of push into the sides of your waist a little bit, not too hard, and then go down a little closer so you're on the sides of your body, right? Go down a little closer till you hit something harder there. That's your bones. Can you all feel those? Yeah. So having your hands like that on your hip bones, your pelvis, for those who remember Daryl, you could see his pelvis was like a bowl, right? So we're going to rock the pelvis forward and back. So it's like tipping the bowl forward and tipping the bowl back. It's not the rest of your body though, right? So it's not this with the rest of your body. It's just this movement with the pelvis. So it's a pretty small one. So if you're not sure, just have a look up here. So we're just kind of rocking the pelvis forward and back. Got that? Can you feel that movement in your low back? Can you feel it in your belly a little bit? Like way down deep in your belly below your navel? Yeah. And you might even feel it into like the hip creases where your legs come in. Okay, are you breathing? More than the minimum. The minimum keeps you upright. Good. Just a couple more of these little tilts for the pelvis. Excellent. And then relax that. Okay, so that can be an unusual movement. A lot of us get very tight in the back of the pelvis and those bones in the back because your spine comes right down between your hip bone on the right, or hip bone on the right and hip bone on the left. Your spine comes right down between there. And that can get a little sticky if we don't use it a lot, right? So people who have back pain, they typically walk like this. right? Yeah, not a lot of movement there because that could be painful, right? So movement in that area, gentle movement, even if you have back pain, there is some movement in there that you can gain. So if you're dealing with a back issue and you can't move your spine sitting up, I recommend getting on the floor with your legs up on the chair. So I'll show you what I mean. You can do this in your bed too. So with your legs up on the chair like this, and then you can do that tilting. Some of you can maybe see this, right? Can you see how I'm tilting? So that's supporting the back as I'm doing this. If you've got back pain, if you've got a back issue, that can be a little more comfortable to do than doing it seated. All right, so we're going to take that movement up the spine a little bit. Y'all remember above this, so the sacrum is the part of the spine that sits between the between your hip bones, and then above your sacrum is something called your lumbar spine. That's the part that goes ouch when you bend over too quickly, right? So we're going to take that movement up the spine a little bit. So now we're going to roll the pelvic bowl forward, and then we're going to arch the back a little bit, and then roll back. So you can have your hands here if you want. You can have them on your lap. I'm going to actually have my hands right here on my lap, and I'm just going to do this movement. So I'm rolling forward on the sitting bones. See if you can bring your, when you roll forward on your sitting bones and you tilt the pelvic bowl forward, see if you can bring your shoulder blades down toward your low back, right? And then as you come the other way, it's like you're rounding through that upper back. Good. So we're getting the movement to come up the spine a little bit at a time. So breathe in as you extend and bring the shoulder blades back, and breathe out as you come forward. So you can stay right here with the movement, or if you want to get a little more in your movement here, you can start by bringing your arms up as you extend and then as you bend, right? So we're getting more complex in the movement. Breathe in and breathe out. And get as big in this movement as you want. So if you want, you can bring your arms way up overhead. If your shoulders and your elbows allow for that, do that. If they don't, you can have your hands right here on your lap. So there's lots of different ways. And just because you decide to do one really big one like this, doesn't mean you have to continue. You can do one big one and one small one. Just keep breathing. You can roll your arms back, right? And then forward. So explore what movement in your that comes from your spine. Explore what movement that comes from your spine is comfortable for you and how that translates into your body. So back bending, we're breathing in, and forward bending, we're breathing out. And just a couple more. Good. And last time. And then come back to a neutral spine. Good. Close your eyes for a moment and just notice what you feel in your spine and your back, right? So it might be hard to feel your spine because your spine is inside your body, but you can feel those muscles in the back of your body. The muscles between your shoulder blades, the muscles in your upper back, your chest, your belly. Take another breath in, let it out with a sigh. Let your eyes open. Okay. And then we're going to do a little bit of a twisting movement for the whole spine. So turn and look out over your right shoulder. As you turn and look out over the right shoulder, twist your shoulders in that direction, twist your waist, bring your hands over to that right leg, and see how far around you can twist in your chair. And then slowly come back to center. We're going to twist in the other direction. So head, neck, shoulders, sitting up nice and tall as you do this. We're going to do this one more time on each side, so coming all the way back to the right. And you never want to push into your hands and force yourself into a twist, by the way. And then coming back and going over to the left. Good. The hand position is just an assist, and then coming back to center. Great. Roll your shoulders a couple more times. And then make yourself comfortable in your chair. So that for some of you might mean staying right where you are. For others, you might want to sit into the back of your chair. Close your eyes. Let your hands rest on your lap. And Let's just do a quick scan from the top of the head. Notice your face, your jaw. Is your jaw tight? Can you bring a little space between your upper teeth and lower teeth? Give the muscles of the jaw a little bit of a break here. And then down into your neck, the right and left sides of your neck, the front and back of your neck, into your shoulder tops, into the upper arms and the elbows. Notice your forearms and your wrists, your hands and fingers. And then notice your chest as you breathe in and out. See if you can feel some movement there. Can you feel your chest rising and falling with every inhalation and exhalation? And then your upper back between your shoulder blades. And down your spine, all the way down to where your hip bones are. And you remember that from when you had your hands there. And feel your ribs on the right and the left sides. Feel your belly and your waist. And what about that right hip and the left hip? And the front and back of the right hip, the front and back of the left hip. And that right leg, the thigh, the muscles in the front of the thigh, the quadriceps muscles, the muscles in the back of the thigh, the hamstring muscles. And the left thigh, the muscles in the front of the left leg, muscles in the back of the left thigh. And then notice your knees and your lower legs, your calves and your shins. Notice your ankles, your feet, your toes, all of them. And then see if you can notice the whole front of your body, from your forehead right down to your big toes. And then the whole back of your body, from the forehead all the way down to your heels. Notice the whole right side of your body and the whole left side of your body. And then as you breathe in and out, notice where your body expands and contracts, where you feel movement and where you don't feel movement. Can you let your breath get slow and deep? Consciously pulling more air into your lungs with every inhalation. And consciously releasing more air from your lungs with every exhalation. Long, slow, deep breaths. Relaxed body. Awareness of different body parts that maybe you weren't aware of before. And then take your hands to your chest. Let's take a deep breath in, let it out with a sigh so that you can feel that vibration under your hands. And just a moment to appreciate yourself, your body for showing up, your feet for getting you here, your mind for being willing to try something different. And then if you'd like, maybe open your eyes and just acknowledge these amazing people here in the room. Good. Yeah. Excellent. Have a wonderful rest of your day. All right. We'll see you next time.